for me, I always think about what Angela says. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I had a similar saying in my head probably a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago. People jump in and out of your life, for different reasons. Sometimes you spend the rest of your life trying to figure out what that is. And with everyone I've ever met, and I don't forget people, even up till now, like, I'm thinking, oh, why was that person there? And for 90% of them, I've figured it out. And when you meet new people, you start to do the same with them. And understanding their reasoning for why they're there in your life is a beautiful thing. And it kind of connects me to, sorry, maybe it's God's way of saying, okay, let me give him a message through this person. And that's kind of like going to Mass or going to a service, right? You're hearing God's words, That's, for me, when I see people or meet people, like there's something there, whether it's a message you're supposed to be listening to or something that you're not supposed to be listening to from that person. And I hope I'm making sense. Each individual you meet and the ones you don't meet, those are the missed opportunities. Mm-hmm. The ones you don't pursue, those are the missed opportunities. The relationships you don't continue, those are the missed opportunities. People you don't text back when you should have. Those are the missed opportunities. So I'm very aware of every person who comes within 5 feet of me and try and get a quicker understanding of, wait, why are they here?
Yeah.
And not saying I'm great at it, but I try to understand people very quickly now. And I can get a good sense of their energy and their persona, character, if they're right in front of me, like 1 foot away. Just because I think I've been a good listener my whole life, and now it's more of being a listener, plus being a little bit wise and just understanding people. And you learn people's intentions really quick if you're aware and if you're very observant, I guess. And there's a deeper message to the people that you meet or encounter or stay in contact with. And it's a beautiful thing to take your time to understand what that is. Even more beautiful when you find out.
You guys ever heard that saying? It's like, 2 of the biggest moments in your life is 1 when you're born, and then 2 is when you find out why. Like why you were born, like why you were created to be. I think it's like I think for men especially, right? We're so intertwined with identity. Like, this is our job, this is what I do, maybe this, you put it out, this is my calling. But it's, it's another when you really find, wow, this is what I feel like God designed me to do uniquely. This is the thing that he's put me on this earth at this time in these moments to deal with. I find myself always like, that's kind of the lingering theme behind my thoughts throughout the day is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I was having a conversation with Carlene yesterday. We were in the car, and I was telling her about one of the organizations that we support here at Redwood, ATP, All Things Possible, with Victor Marx. And I told you guys what's going on in Haiti. They're kind of going through a crazy civil war type thing. There's gangs that are just ransacking villages throughout. And there's one specific village, or not even village, a compound that has about over 1,000 orphans and victims from trafficking that they've rescued, that they put them in that orphanage to kind of rehabilitate. And this gang has been terrorizing all these towns and villages around where they've all left. They've all left. A lot of them have left Haiti and tried to go to a neighboring country. But there's, in this orphanage, a lot of those kids aren't able to move. Like just saying it now, it's breaking my heart. Like, they can't move. Like, they don't have enough people to move them out. And some of them physically can't move on their own. So logistically to try to evacuate something like that in a short amount of time in that terrain is like logistically crazy. So long story short, this gang has been advancing on this compound, making threats like we're going to come in there and, you know, basically mess everything up. Just demonic, right? And Victor, he took a group. They have a group of high-risk missionaries. You know, they're men of God who have also been equipped to be warriors and who have trained, and they went in there and they've defended this compound. They've been defending, dude, like I'm literally getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. And I was telling Carlene this, and she was like, "You're not thinking of going, are you?" And I was like, well.
You look at
When's
the
my
time, you're
passport
like,
expire?
yeah, a little bit.
No, seriously, bro. Like, I mean, I was kind of like, the point of the point of me telling her was for something else, was just kind of let her know, like, you know, this is one of the organizations that we donate and help, you know, fund this stuff. But then when she asked, like, you're not thinking of going, I'm like, well, can I? You know, because she's like, yeah, you don't do that anymore. You know, and it was man, I kind of lost my train of thought of what the whole point of that was, but it kind of like, it gave me goosebumps. Just, that stuff breaks my heart every time I think about it, man.
Sometimes you just have to be that warrior, right? That mentality shift is a normal thing, and I think it's necessary. I know you wanted to speak about, you know, the purpose of, you know, that situation and having those warriors there, but that warrior in you comes out. That's a natural thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I could tell him. I was getting tense in the car, like explaining to her, like, this is what's happening to these kids. And I'm like, it pisses me off that I feel like I can't do anything, like physically anymore, right? Oh, and that's kind of what I was telling her too. I'm like, you know, for years I trained to be this operator. And like now, like I miss it, yes. But now I feel like God's calling me to do something different. You know, maybe less of the operator and more of like, you know, behind the scenes leadership type of thing.
Going from operator to operation.
Oh,
Operation Redwood.
Strategist.
Yeah.
But I
Maybe.
still feel like the title, it's still there for you as a warrior of God. Because as we were talking about it, like sharing like all these reels back and forth, you know, there's a difference between men of God and warriors of God. You know, like warriors of God, and that's the whole purpose, right, of Operation Redwood, is to restore. Men of God is basically they preserve the, you know, the word of God. Warriors restore it. When a broken world, that's what you need. You know, it's like when we look at the world and we see evil on the rise, well, who are you going to send? You're going to send a warrior. You're not going to send somebody that is just, you know, kind of like a farmer, right? That is taming the field, keeping the field, all of that. No, you're going to send somebody that can actually fight against it, combat it, restore order.
I'd take it a step further and say men of God or our followers, essentially, right? Like, yeah, we believe this. Warriors of God defend those beliefs, defend what we
Those
see
people.
as
Ooh.
sacred,
Yeah.
and they stand up for what they believe in.
That is beautiful.
Every man's goal should be a warrior of God, because that takes you to the next level of being a Christian.
I love that. Because imagine
That's
if
so
every believer became a warrior.
Yeah. We wouldn't let them slander our religion
Oh,
on TV. We
Bro.
wouldn't let people speak to us that way. When you're a defender of something, it takes on a whole new meaning. It becomes your identity. Like, imagine what you said if we were all warriors of God, which we should strive for.
We definitely should strive for that. I think we're all warriors. It's just a matter of what level what belt are we at right now, or
Ooh.
what level or rank are we? Because I mean, I think of warrior. I'm only naturally in my brain a warrior because when I was old enough to understand, my dad explained my name to me, Jason. He's like, Jason comes from Greek mythology. I remember him sitting there, me sitting there, and him talking to me. Jason in Greek mythology was the warrior who stole this golden fleece. He had his own army and went to, and I wish I knew the town, but, you know, Jason and the Argonauts was this character, you know, in Greek mythology, and he said, that's you. He's like, you were born a warrior. And this was me at 4 or 5 years old, and right from the start, I was like, okay, I guess that's what I am. That's what my dad says, you know, and it's never changed. I've only learned to develop that. And
But we got to think about it, right? I mean, it's a beautiful thing, like how our conversation is going, because, you know, even the army, even the warriors, right? It got to also be fed in order to be able to. So in God's army, there's a lot of warriors. It's just, you know, there's people that actually make the food. There's people that serve the food. There's people that set the table. There's people that, you know, create this environment for a warrior to actually become a warrior. Not everybody's going to be out there on the, you know, battlefield, on the front line.
100%. Look at the U.S. military.
Yeah. But it's like who feeds them, who feeds into them, that you're also part of that army.
Not just that, you can't fight if you don't eat.
Yeah.
You got to take in that word.
But at the same time, sometimes, man, the chef, you know, becomes the guy that actually picks up the rifle. And it's like,
No,
I don't want to
exactly.
do that anymore. I want to actually be on that.
Chip, and I was going to say that to you when you said, oh, some people are just farmers and they're just there cultivating the land. Farmers are the biggest gangsters I've ever known, if you've ever met any farmers. They
You're
really
watching
are.
that Amish show.
Return to Amish.
Try and arm wrestle a farmer. You get.
Have you ever, or like, I mean,
Trust me, I know farmers.
I
Or
know.
a bear.
or an iron, or like an iron work,
Catholic
like an
spread.
ironsmith.
Oh,
My goodness, like you look at them and you like you think it's nothing.
their hands are.
Anyone who
solid.
does anything with their hands is ridiculous. And what's interesting,
It's hard typing on that keyboard all day.
yeah, the keyboard, exactly.
He's like 3, 2, 1. Oh God.
Rest.
Stretch,
Last set.
stretch.
Last set. Best set.
That's it. And I've said this before. I actually said this on the podcast. Everyone has been given a gift from God, and sometimes it's from a previous life, or you know, you're going to be using it in heaven or whatever. And for me, it's my hands, and I'm extremely creative with my hands. And if I think about, you know, doing the physical therapy, playing the music, working out, and you know, anything I can do with my hands, usually I consider that a gift. And going back to why I mentioned farmers, I injured my wrist one time, and I saw a hand specialist, you know, a therapist who's a hand specialist. And I think I'm strong, because I am. This guy, he's like, all right, so did a manual test, and he grabbed my hand like this, and he's like, all I want you to do is bend your wrist. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And I bend the wrist, and he's like, use a little more strength. And I'm using like 80%. Then I get to like 90%. He's like, actually try, man. And I was like, this guy was so strong with his hand, and I couldn't believe his hand and wrist and fingers was probably twice as strong as mine, and it blew my mind. Just the amount of power that someone can produce and torque with someone's hand. And,
You're like, don't take this the wrong way, but are you a farmer?
but
I was
it's
gonna say,
amazing.
did you go Idaho for this specialist?
Yeah, you went to Idaho, huh? You for sure.
And
went to a farmer.
it's interesting to know that someone with all that strength, the reason why so many things come in my head is, you know, I'm trying to think where I'm going with this, but there's so much involved with your hands in general, and then so much involved when you are given that gift from God. Like for that guy, it was hand strength and anything with the hand. He's a hand specialist more than anybody, so deals with hand
Makes sense.
surgeries and I guess going back to
Well, I don't want to cut you off.
No,
There's one
cut
thing
me
that
off,
you,
please,
That's
'cause
the one thing that
some
you
of the
said
voices
earlier, because your dad gave you that name,
Yeah.
and then you identified as a warrior
Oh, right
because
away.
your dad gave you that name. Y'all see where I'm going with this?
No,
What's
I'm
God
already
called
there.
us to be?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God called us to be warriors, to be defenders, to be protectors, and just like you said, what everyone's been saying, there's a different level to it too. He may not call you to the front of the battlefield, but you know what? Just you do need people to support that.
Yeah. But at the same time, I want to cut you
But
off.
that
Yeah.
identity,
But as you think about it, like you said, the identity, we're all called actually to do that because we're all given an identity through Christ to be what? Sons of God. So it's like when, because of Christ, it's a title that, look at it before like even the newborn, right? I saw this video of this father describing like his son, before he was even born, he actually claimed that title. He already had that title. He didn't do nothing for it. He didn't work for it. When that kid came out into this world, he was already a son. He was, the next of kin, all of that. Like it was already given to him
He
because
inherited it, right?
exactly. It was already an instant inheritance from the father because he was his son. Even though your position as a son might change in a sense, like in life, but your title remains the same. And I feel like that's how it is with God. He created us, I guess, like not, he obviously, he created us to one day be with him. However, I feel like we become sons when we have that encounter or that epiphany moment and our life change and we become, followers of Christ, therefore become sons of Christ.
I'd actually say it happens before that, because at least the way I view it, we're all children of God, right? Even before we're born, really. Starts when we're in the womb, because that's just my belief. Because you ever hear about like someone unfortunately has a miscarriage or something like that, or a baby doesn't, like after they're
Yeah.
born they come out with an illness. Like I fully believe,
Yeah,
they end up in heaven because they're innocent. But
that's a good point.
in terms of we're all born with the right to be sons and daughters of Christ. We're all his children. Now whether we accept that calling or not is very different. And that's the beauty of God, because he is that patient father. He is that father from prodigal son who welcomes us back with open arms. And when we're welcomed with open arms, it's usually when we say, Father, I choose to follow you.
Yeah.
I want to listen.
However, we also got to take into consideration what the Bible, when Christ was calling, the religious people, right? What does he call them? Like, you're sons of the devil. Because, and to what you said, I feel like, yes, we all have that opportunity. God has given every single person that opportunity, not to miss the bus towards heaven, right? But so many times, it's our free will, our choice that, we can either become sons of God or sons that are deemed for destruction.
So, when I hear the term sons of God, children of God, I think of one of our first conversations. We had watched something on Snyder. Snyder was talking about a story with his son. Do you remember this?
Yeah, hunting.
And the
We're
son,
brothers.
yeah, the son.
Oh,
So, him and his son said to him that, so imagine your son talking to you saying, hey, we're brothers. That's essentially the gist of it.
yeah.
He thought, oh, it's so cute that he thinks we're brothers. But ultimately, since you're both sons of God, then you are.
Yeah.
And I remember this conversation, and Chip was talking about respect being a factor for a lot of things. And the question that came to my mind, and I did probably say it during that conversation, was, do we respect the other men in this world as if they're also sons of God.
You did say it because that's
And-
the question that stuck with all of us. I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think
That was great.
that if you're not doing that, then don't even move forward, because the respect is the initial part of it. This is what Chip said. If you don't have any respect, you don't have anything with anybody or that specific relationship, that person. So that's like a non-negotiable. I try to be respectful to everybody, and at the bare minimum, you don't like them, at least be respectful as a man to another man. And it made me think, with every encounter, it's like, if I'm not being respectful to that person, or if someone's not being respectful to you, you're stuck at that level until you reach the next level or want to go to the next level, even with faith, with life, with anything. So when I hear people talk badly about another person or talk crap about somebody, talk trash, it makes me think that respect isn't there. And those are the people where I would hope that they would learn at least the bottom line is respect.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I'm going with this. I really don't know.
No, but it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, respect. Respect says a lot.
It's just what I was thinking about when you said Son of God. I thought about that day, that morning. You guys remember that day, though, right?
Yeah.
You remember the
yeah.
story that Snyder was talking about with his son?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting. Imagine your
was.
son saying, "Hey, we're brothers." And it's like, who do you think you are? You know?
Bro.
Get off me, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. You know, like, we go to respect and then being called, you know, your father having this inheritance for you when you come to the world, right? I think those are really big centerpieces for men to understand. But we look at where we are today, and there's a lot of absent fathers. There's a lot of lack of proper initiation or leadership for young men, young boys to understand. I mean, there's a huge lack of respect. You can see it everywhere. Kids today are, you know, more entitled. They have a lot less respect than, you know, us growing up. You know, you don't speak back to a police officer. You don't, you know, you respect authority, all these things. And today it's like, it's flip-flopped. So to us, it's common sense. But, you know, you look at the next generations coming up, and I'm genuinely worried for them. Because who else is teaching them respect?
The
Right? Huh?
The fathers with the missed opportunity.
The fathers with the missed opportunity. Yeah. Those are missed opportunities right there. So if you are a dude that's listening to this, which I think stats say about 85% of our listeners are men.
We have
which
that many
makes
females
sense.
listening?
85% are men, and we have 15% who are women. So they're probably like taking notes right now. They're like, "You see what they said? you better start doing that." If you're a father, especially, what missed opportunities are you having with your kids? If you have a son, if you have a daughter, what missed opportunities are you having that you should be showing them how to live, how to, you know, put God in the middle. And I mean, it's even harder, right? If you grew up and you didn't have a dad, and then someone starts talking to you about God and the heavenly Father, where your earthly father was absent or not present, it's very difficult for them to be like, so there's a guy in heaven that actually cares about me, where your earthly father was never around. And they can totally be against faith, Christianity, whatever, right? But then when later on they realize that God, and they have that sign language, and God speaks to them, and they finally stop missing those opportunities where, like, okay, let me just hear what this is about. I've been denying it for so long. Let's see what this is about. Those people who were so far on the other end up becoming some of the strongest believers that I've seen.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it. People that step out and then they come in, like people from the world that never been to church, never had that experience. And those are the people, like, when they actually receive it, they become, so to speak, the best warriors
Yeah.
not only to defend the faith, but in their walk with Christ, it's almost like this magnet that just draws you into their presence, that you want to achieve what they're achieving, but they're so far ahead because of everything that they're given, because it's like they know that this is the only thing that they can grasp on, the only thing that gives them that connection, that ability to, like, I don't know, it's just something that they've never had, and once they receive it, they know to do everything in their power to move forward with it. And I'm looking at it as even if you're not a father, you're a husband. How many missed opportunities do you get?
Dang.
When Christ talks about, like, when the apostles come in, they say, how many times should I forgive the person that does me wrong, right? 7 times? And, Jesus says, no, 70 times 7. But it just not somebody that does you wrong in a sense like a friend or somebody out of this world. But what about your wife? What about your husband? Like, we're so quick to just, the people that we love the most is the people that we hurt the most.
Ooh.
Oh, most definitely.
Because it's like,
Ooh.
how many opportunities did I miss when I could have been like, I know, baby. I know that's not what you meant. And it's like, you don't have to tell her every time, like, I forgive you. But you can respond with kindness, and that shows you your forgiveness towards her.
That's a good start.
Point being, this morning, and I've been thinking about this since yesterday. I've just been thinking, like, missed opportunities in my marriage. And of course, I wake up and my mom, she was still over, and she was making.
You mean your roommate?
Yeah, my roommate, for the last week. And yeah, I moved in with my mom. Yeah, okay.
She moved
I
in
have
with
an
me.
extra bedroom, man. Like,
She moved in with me.
Yeah, but she was trying to make coffee, and again, it's not her place, right? Like, she doesn't know how my coffee machine works or anything like that, and it's like she missed the part where there was no water in the machine. So I'm like, not that that I said anything wrong to her, but I just, like, I was just frustrated, and I'm like, why? Like, you stupid? Like, why even make a face or act uncomfortable or act stupid for what? Like, it's just put some water, add it, and show it. It's like, extend that what it's been extended to you. Like, you literally just got out of bed, God woke you up, didn't forget about you, and you added an extra hour, an extra day to your life. And it's like, we forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much easier to be like, nah, you did wrong.
Yeah.
Imagine if every time God would correct us that way, with a slap.
I wish you would. 'Cause-
Sometimes I know that.
someone just knocks you down from out of nowhere.
because otherwise,
Tripping
it's
everywhere. Like, what's
when
wrong?
we make mistakes, it's left up to us to kind of correct or go from there. And for some people, they have to learn the hard way. But for many of us, you have to be understanding that you did make a mistake, and some people don't even see it.
Exactly.
So, and I try to. And
That's it.
yeah, I wish you would. Well, he does give you signs when you do things that are wrong. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And some people try and ignore that, and yeah.
I think about. I'm pretty sure one of this is Becoming a King, where it's like the check engine light,
Mm-hmm.
right? The check engine light of life. Check engine. When something's wrong with your car, it's kind of give you a pre-warning, like, hey, go fix something. Something's off.
Yeah.
What are some of our check engine lights in our lives? Like, for me, I know, like, when I start to feel short-tempered, when I know, like, I'm not getting enough sleep, and it's one of those days where, like, I choose war today. Like, you
Woke
wake up
and chose violence.
Yeah, you woke up and chose violence. Like, when I start getting into those moods, I'm like, something's a little off.
Mm-hmm.
Something's a little off. Like, and the first thing my assessment, saying this out loud now, it's like, okay, how'd I sleep? How's my water intake? How's my, kind of like, where the physical stuff? How's my diet? Did I have too much sugar again? Like, did I eat all the candy again last night? Like, crap. Like, so I'll kind of go through there, and then I'm like, no, I'm eating well, and I'm drinking my water, eating all that stuff. I'm like, okay, slept okay. have I been rooting myself in the things that I say that are important to me, i.e., every day spending time with God? Whether that's getting into the Word, playing worship music in the back, and just like having an opportunity to actually listen and not listen to respond. And I'm just hearing, waiting to get something. And even if I don't hear anything, maybe it's the 15 minutes of peace that you need. And a lot of the times when I do feel like that I'm getting stretched thin, it's when I don't give myself that peace, when I'm not putting God in the middle. You know, and sometimes it's natural, right? Like when you are in this transition phase of life, it's a growth period.
Yeah.
Things are going to be different. Things are going to change. So, you know, there's a lot of things to consider. But if it starts to become like a prolonged thing, like I've been feeling like this for kind of a long time, like then I'm like, okay.
No, I think it's very
Time to pay
important.
attention.
Yeah, I think we have to pay attention to ourselves and our bodies, and I think this is more of a foundational type of thing first. You know, you said you do a full assessment of yourself, and I do the same thing too. Kind of see what your body feels like in general. Are you aching? Where's your pain? Did you drink enough water? Did you supply, you know, your body with these things? And I think that's foundational. And I think we spoke about this too. Like, that's your flesh, right?
Yeah.
So your flesh is something that you have and you control, and this is of this earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can't control that, how are you going to get to the spiritual side or do the combination of the two? You know, I try and keep myself pretty healthy with eating and with physical activity, and just emotionally just feel good as much as possible. And
But I think that's also a missed opportunity.
yeah,
If you don't take care of your flesh,
of course.
if you don't discipline it, right? I think you're also leaving a lot on the table if you kind of don't, if you let that part go.
I mean, you both said it best. I mean, exactly, like it's this theme of discipline. If you don't have discipline in your flesh, how can you have discipline in your walk with God when the two are always at a constant war with each other? I think David said it best, you know, the last time, you know, our life is, you know, I mean, our soul, right? It's a chess game and both sides are winning, but you actually determine which one wins. It's your free choice whether you go with God or you rely more on the world and on yourself.
I think that's the thing, you know, our bodies and our soul, there's only maybe 2 or 3 components to it. There's a physical component, there's that spiritual or your soul component, and the other is just, I would think, your emotional or ego component, you know? And when it comes to discipline, that is, I guess, part of the latter two. And discipline is probably the most important thing for all three, right? Because if you're not disciplined with, let's say, a diet or an exercise routine or whatever, and then if you're not disciplined spiritually with, you know, reading the Word of God or reading anything spiritual or studying something that you're passionate about, you know, the discipline has to be there.
Yeah.
And there's this quote that always comes to mind. It's in relation to working out, and it says, the man who goes to the gym every day, regardless of how he feels, will always beat the man that goes to the gym whenever he feels like it. And I like to apply that to everything. And when you do, you realize that the emotional component is separate from everything, and you're able to have that discipline. I think that's the most important component to having discipline, is taking out this emotional component. And that's what you see with fighters, with military. It's you take emotion out of it and kind of be tactical, strategic. And yeah, that's a big side of me too. Angelo knows I'm very strategic and tactical, systematic, and it's almost robotic. And sometimes we need that to have the discipline. I think everyone needs to have some sort of structure.